Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to give you a bit of an update for my Violin Fingerchart app. Recently I've had a few composers come to me and say that my application is actually really useful for them because it helps them to understand the violin and what music works and doesn't work for the violin. So what music sounds natural, and it helps them as they're composing. So I have added a few more features to my app that hopefully make it easier for composers. I won't go over every detail of this application in this video because I've already covered it fairly well in past videos. I'm only going to talk about the few new features that I have added. So I have two different versions of my Violin Fingerchart app. This version that has the purple background is where you click on the piano keyboard like this. And the note shows up on the music staff and on the Violin Fingerchart. The other version, the one with the bluish turquoisey background, is the opposite, where you click on the Violin Fingerchart and the note then shows up on the piano and the music staff. And the new features that I'm going to show you in this video are added to both versions of the app. So you can download either version, whichever one works best for you, and use it the same way. So first of all, there's the monophonic or polyphonic button here. Now this I have first introduced into the clicking the Fingerchart version of this app, and now I have added it once again to the click piano version of the app, so I wanted to point that out. So monophonic means that there's only one note showing at a time on the music staff and on the piano. But if you change it to polyphonic, then they all show up at once, and then you have to either click the note again to make it disappear or just reset the whole thing. And the other thing with all these new updates is if you click on this icon right here, all the instructions for how to run this application pops up, and you can read through it if you forget how to do something. The second addition for this app is to be able to select your MIDI input or MIDI output. So if you click here, this is the MIDI input, the red drop-down menu here, and you can see all the different inputs that I have and all the different outputs. So this means that you can attach your MIDI device, like a keyboard, to your computer and use your keyboard to control this instead of having to click everything on screen. And that can be a much easier way to drive this app. So right now I have my Casio keyboard plugged in, but it's not turned on, so I'll turn it on now. And it's on and it's plugged in, but it's not going to show in the app yet. In order to show it, I have to click this button to refresh all my different inputs and outputs. And now it's showing. So I'll click this to select my keyboard, and I'll make sure my output here is my synth right here. This is what is coming out of my computer, the MIDI sound. But if you want to have the MIDI data going somewhere else, of course you can click something else as well. Just make sure whatever is your MIDI sound driver for your computer is what is selected here. Otherwise you're not going to be able to hear it at all coming through your computer. And now if I press keys on my keyboard, oh, now it's not working. Okay, I just did a mistake that I knew about, but then completely forgot and did the mistake anyways. So what I did is I had the application on and then turned my keyboard on, and that's why it wasn't working. So always whenever you use an external MIDI device, have it plugged in first, then open up the Fingerchart application, and then it should work. So I have everything set up now, and if I press buttons on my MIDI keyboard, it works. Now, one thing that was suggested to me is to have some way of turning this application into a VST plugin to then use inside of your DAW. Now, I don't know how to make plugins. That's a little bit outside of my technological expertise, but I have figured out a way to use this application alongside a DAW like Logic. So I've tested it out with Logic, so I know it works. Okay, so I had just recorded the entirety of my demo and then found out that halfway through the video, my audio cut out. So hopefully this all works the second time around. Where I left off, I was saying that if anybody wants to download my application and test it out with other DAWs and software, please be my guest, test it out, and let me know how it goes. So where I left off, I am demonstrating how to use this with Logic. So here I have Logic already open. So you want to use a new project. Sure, let's close that. No, I do not want to save. And you want to have external MIDI selected. And then you want to make sure that the Click Piano app is selected, or if you are using the clicking the Violin chart version, it will say Click Violin app 1 instead. So make sure that's selected, make sure it's this, and create. And before you start recording from the application into Logic, you want this track to be armed. Hit record, and then open the application back up. And you want to have record from app selected in the Fingerchart app. Now, if your inputs and outputs are completely different from mine, it might not automatically select the correct MIDI output. So what you want is to make sure it says from Click Piano app 1 selected for the MIDI output. So if it doesn't happen automatically, do it manually. And then you just press any note. And you see it recording here in Logic. So if I go back to Logic, I'll stop that. Let's move it over to the beginning of the track. And now, so let's say you are composing, you are figuring out what works well on the violin with the Fingerchart app. So now you have just recorded from the Fingerchart into Logic. So now you can continue working with the MIDI data in Logic, or you can go the other way. So let's say you've already written something out, you've already started composing in Logic, and now you want to double check that what you've written actually works on the violin. So you have your MIDI track all set up here. Let's pretend what we've recorded is that pre-recorded material. And then go to your Fingerchart app. Make sure it has play from DAW selected. It should automatically select your MIDI output here. If not, then select it manually. And then press play in Logic. Here we go. And then it plays on the Fingerchart app. And as always, there will be a link for you to download this new version of the app in the description. The new features are in both versions of this app, so these new features for MIDI are in this purple Click Piano version of the app, and it's also integrated into the bluey turquoise Click the Violin chart version of the app. So whichever one works best for you, you can download and try it out. Whatever you decide doing, I hope it is helpful. And I am continually working on this application. I have a few more ideas for more features to add to it. So When that new version comes out, I will be making another update video to let you all know that it is available. So please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when that is uploaded.